Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I have a gameplay commentary for you about credit problems, or why I cannot buy a house. This commentary is going to be a little bit more ranty than what I would like, and I considered not doing it, but it is something that personally bothers me and I'd like to discuss, and it's something that many of you are going to encounter in one point of your life, or many of you actually very soon for that matter, and I'd like for you to hear about my mistakes and woes and worries so that you don't have to repeat them and struggle to get a house when it's time for you to do so. The gameplay that you're seeing right now is me using just the Executioner with a long barrel and fast mags, if I'm not mistaken. That's the way I like to use it. It got buffed recently, so it's a little bit better. It's entirely usable now. You're going to see me scavenging for weapons, picking up stuff off the ground a lot, trying to put myself out of my comfort zone in this video. I'm playing a map that I don't particularly like, using guns that I don't like, scavenging stuff from the grounds. I just kind of sometimes like to throw myself into the deep end and see if I can sink or swim. In this gameplay commentary, I'm mostly going to be swimming. I start to sink a little bit toward the end when the enemy team starts playing really hard, but I come out on top, we win the game. Good kill death ratio, all that sort of stuff. Let's talk about credit problems. Me and my wife have finally finished college. My wife is a nurse, so she's got a good job. I'm doing the YouTube thing for now, but if that blows up, I have degrees I can fall back on. And we wanted to move to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I live in Fort Worth at the moment because that's where her family lives, and that's where her best job opportunities are in the nation anyway, because Dallas is a big medical city, and I can really do the YouTube thing just about anywhere. Problem is, we wanted to purchase a house, and that seems a little bit maybe extreme for young people. I thought it was relatively normal. I guess you could call this working from home. I have a really awesome game room that I happen to like, and you can't really do that in an apartment, and apartments echo a lot, and I can't do voice work with echo, and we have a dog that needs a yard to run around and do dog stuff in, so we're renting houses. We wanted to purchase a house because the prices here are so absolutely crazy. To rent a house, depending on the house, what we looked at, what I needed, what she needed, close to the work, etc., the prices were somewhere between $900 and $1,200 to $1,300 a month, just kind of depending on the quality of the house and the neighborhood and all that. If we were to purchase a house, not even of similar quality, but actually of better quality than what we're doing right now renting, the prices would probably be more like $700, $800, $900 a month, and we would be able to be, we would own the place. We could pay in with equity. We could do our own repairs. We wouldn't have to worry about deposits and keeping the landlord happy and the weird little rats and things that you get with rental houses. And it drives me crazy to think that I'm paying more to rent a house, and when I'm done, I just leave and all that money goes away, whereas I could be paying less to actually own a house through the mortgage financing, of course, and be paying into the equity. However, we do not qualify to purchase a house. To purchase a house in the United States, you need three basic things. You need a decent credit score, you need a 1-2 years credit history, and you need a stable employment history. Our big problem is the credit scores, because my family, they were all big fans of Dave Ramsey. A lot of them came from the Depression era, which was the Great Depression in the United States, or children of the Depression era. My wife's family, they were all Chinese, very thrifty, very conservative, they fresh off the boat, first generation Chinese. They were not big fans of things like credit cards or loans or buying cars on loans. They were big fans of thrift stores and used things and spending very conservatively. So that's how I learned how to do things. Everything I bought in cash. College tuition was either grant money from the government because we were relatively poor, or what I managed to earn doing a few odd jobs in the YouTube thing. But I paid my way through college no debt. My wife paid through college with relatively little debt, and she paid it off very quickly. So that doesn't show up on the credit score either. The car purchases were always done in cash. Well, not cash necessarily, just checks. I didn't get credit cards because I had no use for them. I certainly didn't get store credit cards or gas credit cards or any of these other sort of credit agencies because I had absolutely no use for them because I could pay in cash, and I understand how compound interest works. And the whole point of a credit card or credit industry for that matter is to kind of hedge the responsible people against the unresponsible ones and hope that the unresponsible ones will be somewhat unresponsible and allow their irresponsible is the actual word, and allow their interest to start compiling, but do the honorable thing and pile it off. I never wanted to really get into that racket, so I avoided that. So I've got no credit score, and apparently that's a weird thing not to have a credit score in this country, and it's also a weird thing not to spend all the money you have as soon as you get it and to have savings and stuff like that. I try not to talk about my personal finances because I was always brought up to believe that it was impolite to do so, either through gloating or through trying to make yourself appear to be more poor or more humble than anyone. It's just generally poor taste. But I'm in a position right now to where I have saved extremely hard. I live like a hobo. I have very few real expenses, and I put all of my money away saving for this house down payment, and I've got enough to where I qualify to put in a down payment, and move into an actual house, a decent one too, one that I would like to live in with a big game room and everything, but I have no credit score, and this just baffles me. Same thing with my wife, and the employment history is also a problem because my quote job, if you can call it this is the hardest job in the world, I'll tell you. It's just sitting here playing games on YouTube and posting videos and stuff, and you go to tell people, it's like, so what do you do for a living? And I'm like, YouTube? And they're like, what do you mean? Oh, you work at Google? No, I don't work at Oh, so you work at YouTube? No. It's like, oh, are you a support staff? It's like, no, I play Call of Duty videos and put them on the internet. And they're like, oh, well, just send me your W-2 forms, which is the standard employee tax forms here in the United States. And I'm like, I don't have those. I have these weird ones for contract labor, because they pay all the YouTubers through kind of basically like independent contractors, and it's independently contracted 4 layers down, like Google, YouTube, IGN, Atomic Partners, me, and I try to prove my employees, okay, well, maybe we'll look at bank statements. I don't have bank statements. I have a huge PayPal statement. Obviously, I have a bank, but I also use the PayPal as a bank. And they're like, okay, well, what about your tax records? And I'm like, this kind of deal didn't really exist a few years ago. The tax records are going to look even weirder. And I'm like, okay, well, basically you count as unemployed and you don't qualify to this. You can't prove your income is stable, blah, blah, blah. That's reasonable. I understand that. Not all bankers are going to be up to date with the modern world. The modern world is changing very, very fast. I'm not the only person that has this problem. And my wife's situation is even weirder because the hospital she worked at in Mississippi, she was working about 75 to 80 hours a week. The place was critically understaffed and they just weren't hiring anybody new. So I convinced her to take off. Just quit. Like, we have money saved up. We're moving to Texas in a few months. Just take off, relax, don't worry about it. Well, now that makes it look like we have unstable employment on her end too. So we're just kind of up the creek trying to get a house here, and I don't really understand this. It baffles me, and I try to say this with as little hubris and pride as possible. But I see people that I know, especially when I'm looking at these houses and I look at the neighbors, that I can tell that they are very irresponsible people that I don't even know how they qualified to get in, and here I am saving as hard as I possibly can, doing all the things I can, and I have mortgage lenders and realtors and stuff hang up on me, just like, yeah, I don't care, click, or I'm sorry, honey, we just can't help you out. Can you call me back in a few years when you have a real job? Click. And it just kind of burns my bacon. I don't know where else to complain about it but here on YouTube. On a related note, if any of you are mortgage lenders or bankers and live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you're totally comfortable with manually underwriting me a loan based on that YouTube money, please hit me up. I'd very greatly appreciate that. But at the current moment, it looks like I'm going to have to wait 6 months to a year, and I got a little credit card, and I just usually go out and eat on it and buy little video games and things and pay it off. Try to build up some credit, maybe qualify for a house. I don't know if the income employment thing will ever actually be verified, so it's kind of weird, but these rules do serve a purpose. Previous to 2008, there were very predatory lenders out there. That's what caused our housing crisis. Basically, they were setting up loans where people wouldn't even be paying on the principal of the loan. They got it to where they would only be able to afford the interest payment. And the idea the bank had, and it really wasn't a terrible idea, is we're going to loan this person, let's say, a $100,000 house. We're going to set the interest rate super high, but only require them to pay the interest, principal optional, and they'll probably live there, let's say, 5-10 years and pay us, $40,000-$50,000 on the house. And then we can just take the house and sell it because house prices always go up, and we make a lot of money doing that. Not a bad business model. And it worked for a little while, and then they got the idea of bundling these together, and I'm not an economist or a real estate expert, but this is generally how I saw it happening. They'll bundle these things together, and once they're bundled, they can write them off as all good because there's only a few bad ones and the good ones, and they got worse and worse with it, and it kind of blew up over time and caused our housing crisis or credit crunch. So the new rules are in place to keep people from doing that, but I kind of miss the old thrift banks back in the day, to where if you knew somebody, if they knew you in the community, if you could talk to a human being instead of just punching numbers into a computer, you could get qualified for a loan. But I don't know, I guess the new rules are here for a reason. I'm just going to have to adapt and change with them, and hopefully I'll get a nice place to live eventually. This place has rats, and it's kind of driving me crazy when I try to sleep at night, and I can hear the rats chewing on the walls or humping in the ceiling, and Ozzy tries to chew through the wall to get to the rats, so I have drywall anywhere. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the commentary. Let me know if you like these kind of topics, and let me know if you have any sort of amazing advice for purchasing a house with no employment history, no credit score, and no credit history. Drifter out.